All right. Uh-oh. Hey, y'all. Hey. Yeah, bye. Hey, y'all. Hey, this is Tomi Adeyemi. We are diving into all things children of blood and bone tonight. Definitely drop down in the comments to let me know if you saw that trailer that just dropped. We're talking about all of it. Let me get this sound together. Definitely want to get this together. Let's see. It's a echo, and I do not know why. All right, let's try. Nope. Okay. Y'all bear with me. I'm definitely testing this out because I want to get more into my streamer girl era. Hmm. But yes, let me know if you've seen the trailer for Children of Blood and Bone. It's starring Damson Idris, Viola Davis. I mean, you name it, baby. They really brought all the stars out. And a lot of people are saying that this is just as exciting as the Black Panther release. So definitely hype about it. Drop down in the comments. Let me know y'all are here. Engage with me before we get started diving into all things Children of Blood and Bone, the book, the controversy, all of the things. Why is it appear twice? Maybe that's why. Okay, let's try this. All right. Nope, still there. Y'all bear with me. All right, how is that? All right. Still let that go. All right, how we doing? Jeez, I don't know why it's doing that. If you are not already, make sure that you are following us at Hey Media Money, at the Media Sip. Definitely make sure you stay locked in. Okay. Okay. Let's see if it's this. I need to turn this on. All right. Still the echo. Hmm. Thank y'all for bearing with me. I am so new to all of this, so I really appreciate it. Wait, okay. Are we good? I think we're good now. All right. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's get into all things Children of Blood and Bone. Tonight, I want to get into the colorism, the casting, and really break down the full timeline of all that really happened. Let's get into it. But of course, before I get started, make sure that you are following me at Hey Media Money. And of course, this is all powered by none other than the Media Sip. That's your favorite place to be for all of your media tea. We give you the rundown on all things TV, film, movies, and entertainment. So we tell you what movies to watch and what moves to make, because y'all know we also cover events. So you can catch me on red carpets, interviewing your favorite celebs and your favorite people out in the DMV and all around the world, really. So if you are not already, definitely make sure that you are following us so that you can tap in. But tonight, we are getting into all things Children of Blood and Bone. What happens when one of the most anticipated fantasy films of the decade becomes one of Hollywood's most controversial adaptations before it's even released? That's exactly what's happening with Children of Blood and Bone. Instead of everyone talking about this star studded, incredible cast, this breathtaking world that's inspired by all of this like African mythology, or just even the excitement of finally seeing one of the biggest black fantasy novels adapted for the screen. Like, this book, this whole franchise is huge. Okay. So instead of us talking about all of those great things, the conversation has shifted to something completely different. We're talking about colorism. We're talking about casting. We're talking about chaos in the creative in of who's in creative control, a public falling out between the film's author and one of its leading cast members. And perhaps the biggest surprise of it all, the author of the book, Tomi Adeyemi herself, says she ain't even supporting the movie anymore. So the movie that's made on the book that she wrote, the creator of the book is out. So what happened? Today, we're breaking down the entire timeline from the excitement surrounding the book to the casting announcements, the fan backlash, Amandla Steinberg and her response, Tomi Adeyemi is distancing herself from the film, and why this conversation has become way much more than about one movie. Let's get into it. Again, if you are new here, hey y'all, hey, it's your favorite cousin at the cookout, the one you can't wait to talk about your favorite show in the group chat with. It's Hey Media Money, and this is powered by none other than the Media Sip. It is your favorite place to be for all of your media tea. We cover all things TV, film, entertainment, and events, so we can tell you what movies to watch and what moves to make. So make sure that you are following us, subscribe to the channel, and like, comment, and subscribe, baby. We want to engage with y'all. This is an open dialogue. Think of this as your group chat, but just a little more elevated. And we do a little more deep diving. Let's get into it. I want to start with why the story of Children of Blood and Bone matters. Before we talk about the controversy, we have to understand why this means so much to so many people. When Tomi Adeyemi released the novel Children of Blood and Bone in 2018, it was not just another fantasy book. It debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list and introduced a lot of readers to Orishas, a fantasy world deeply inspired by Yoruba mythology, West African traditions, and Nigerian culture. For many readers, especially Black American readers, this was something we've been waiting to see for years. Which, like, let's really get into it. We're talking about an epic fantasy where Black characters were not sidekicks. They weren't afterthoughts or background players. They were the heroes. They were the villains. They were magical and mythical. They were royalty. They, again, possessed magic and used that magic. The entire world centered African culture. And one of the things that readers love about the world of Children of Blood and Bone is that, like, y'all, it really celebrated dark skinned Black girls in a genre where we have historically been very much so underrepresented, if represented at all. Okay, when you think about young, not like novels for like young adults, it really isn't a lot of us in that. Okay, so um when it comes to Children of Blood and Bone, there is such a high standard and pedestal that is put on because that's just how powerful the novel itself really was and the representation that it provided and presented. So, because of that, the expectations for this film adaptation are extremely high. Fans are not just hoping for a good movie, they want Hollywood to honor what made the book so important. So, for years, this adaptation remained in development. They were trying to pitch this to so many different networks, and it, once it was picked up, and then it was put back down, and then, I mean, just going through the whole like rigmarole of the Hollywood scene of trying to get a Black film picked up and produced by a major studio. Um, but then things started to turn when acclaimed director Gina Price Bythewood, the queen herself, okay, signed on to direct. Now, I know you might be thinking, where do I know this name from? Gina, who is that? Who is Gina? We're not talking about Martin and Pam. We talking about Gina Prince Bythewood. We loved her work. Amazing director. We loved her work in The Woman King as well as The Old Guard. And y'all, she's the brains behind Love and Basketball. So listen, we don't play about Miss Gina. And we know how well she represents us when it comes to her directorial just vision and just listen, the lady gives us nothing but hits. So soon after she was signed on, this iconic director, casting announcements began rolling out. And honestly, y'all, out the gate, the cast looked incredible. Number one, we have Queen Mother, who we all love, Miss Neat, every Academy Emmy Award known to man, Viola Davis, one of the greatest actresses in Hollywood, not just Black Hollywood, but Hollywood period. So we have Viola Davis. We have Idris Elba, Regina King, Damson Idris, Lashana Lynch, Cynthia Erivo, okay, Miss Wicked herself. And we have newcomers. And I'm sorry. And then of course we have Amandla Steinberg. And that was the one casting announcement that completely changed the conversation. Because before her, everything seemed to be like heading in the right direction. But once Amandla was mentioned, listen, that's kind of when all of the controversy popped off, y'all. Because at that point, there started to be a divide when it came to supporters. So upon the announcement of Amandla Steinberg being cast as Princess Amari, social media exploded, baby. You pulled up TikTok, YouTube, Book Talk, Reddit, X, Threads, I mean everywhere. And surprisingly enough, the criticism was not about Amandla's acting ability, because most of us can agree she is a talented actress. I feel like most of us would not take that away from her. Instead, the conversation became centered around colorism. Now, around this same time, we had heard kind of rumblings that Tomi Adeyemi wanted Zendaya, however you say it. Either way, that's my girl. They wanted her cast for that position, However, Amandla and Zendaya really aren't too far off. So a lot of people were again kind of debating that in terms of the whole colorism piece. Let's really break down what colorism is all about. I think we hear it a lot, but y'all know I'm a big component that words mean things. So let's really deep dive a little bit into just the conversation about colorism. Colorism, by definition, refers to the preferential treatment of lighter skinned people over dark skinned people within the same racial or ethnic group. Many readers argued that one of the defining characters of Children of Blood and Bone is its celebration of dark skinned Black girls. In Tomi's best selling novel, dark skin is a core component of the world's internal caste system, reflecting real world issues of colorism and systemic oppression that we still battle to this day. So, within the kingdom, within the book, the ruling monarchy and upper classes associate lighter skin with purity, beauty, higher status, while darker skin is marginalized in the novel, baby, and in the world. Okay? Let's really get into it. But because of that, of course, it sparked everyone to question whether casting a lighter skinned actress for a major role really reflects the true spirit of the novel that is Children of Blood and Bone. Some completely disagree. Some feel like the acting ability should matter more than the complexion. Amanla should not be blamed for accepting a role. And basically, criticism should be directed towards the studios and the casting directors and not towards the individual actors. At the end of the day, Amala got to get her coin too, some would say. But very quickly, the conversation stopped being about just her as one individual actress. Instead, it really did begin to spark a bigger conversation of, for how much longer will colorism be a problem within Hollywood? How much longer would Black actresses and actors have to kind of have that silent battle where your skin tone can also dictate whether or not a role is meant for you or not? So let's get into a little bit of the controversy, child. Because this is the thing, this debate didn't happen overnight. Here's how we actually got here. 2018, Children of Blood and Bone is published. The novel becomes an instant bestseller and is praised for centering Black girls in this fantasy epic inspired by African mythology. Fans immediately begin, oh, we need this to be a movie. Who would be the dream cast? Immediately. 2023, that's when we get director Gina Prince Bythewood signs on to direct the adaptation. And then, of course, the excitement starts because of her work in previous classics, like I mentioned, like The Woman King, all the things. Expectations rise for an adaptation that many people hope honors the novel's cultural roots. To September of 2024, we get a major casting announcement where Thuso Mbedu is announced as Zele. Most readers celebrate that casting because she's beautiful, she's a darker skinned girl, she's super talented, and many are excited because she closely captures the characters they imagine while reading the book. January through like March-ish of 2025, that's when Paramount unveils the rest of the cast. That's when we get the Viola Davises, the Regina Kings, the Idris Elbas, Damson Idris, all the people. That's also when Amandla Steinberg is announced as well. So, from there, of course, after all of the discourse, Amandla starts to respond because, y'all, the people were really coming for her. And I mean, in this social media world, I don't blame her. Silence sometimes does equate to violence. Like, people just will think that you don't care, or it can be interpreted in such a negative way. So the actress herself, Amandla Steinberg, had to respond. So as the criticism continued, she went and shared a live video. In the video shared on social media, she acknowledged that colorism is a real issue in Hollywood and said that she understands why people were having these conversations. Amanda also revealed something that fans really didn't know. She said that they initially questioned, you know, like internally, she really questioned whether she should take the role at all. Because according to Amanda, she had a heartfelt conversation with the author, Tomi Adeyemi, before accepting the role. Almost as to get like her blessing in this, because why not get the blessing from the creator herself, the writer herself? She then explained that Tomi encouraged her and shared that saying Tomi let Amanda know that the backlash that Amanda Steinberg faced years prior to this for being cast as Rue in the Hunger Games, as well as being cast as the lead character for The Hate You Give, Tomi let Amanda know that that courage that she displayed during all of that controversy actually inspired the author Tomi to create these stories centered on Black girls. So again, they're having this deep moment. So Amanda is feeling like, oh, okay, I have her blessing. Like, this is good. Amanda stated that that conversation gave her confidence that accepting the role would align with Tomi's vision of what the book adaptation to movie version would be. At the time, many fans viewed that as, oh, okay, this is reassuring. Let's do a quick look at the video, because I do want you guys to hear the sincerity in her voice. Let's get into it and let me know if you actually believe, or not even believe, but if you can agree with where Amanda is coming from.
Take this moment to fully address in video format this perception that exists of me that I steal roles from dark-skinned women. I've spoken about it a lot already, but mostly in print, interviews, and the realization that I should have come to a lot more quickly was that nobody's trying to read all that, ever. So I'm hoping that with this, at least a feeling of acknowledgement can be achieved. I've been through a lot of shit, y'all. Like, this year was mostly defined for me, honestly, by contending with what it felt like to receive racist death threats just for existing in the Star Wars universe. And that was a really difficult thing for me to move through. But honestly, it feels so much more painful for me to feel like I'm at odds with my own community. I just want everybody to know that this is important to me. I saw the casting call come into my inbox for Children of Blood and Bone. I was so motherfucking hype because these stories are so rare to come across. First thing that I did was look up a picture of the character. This was the first thing that I saw on the Wikipedia page. And I said, hold up. I was so excited to see that there was this depiction of this character that I could potentially be perfectly suited for. When I read the novel, I read this story about this kingdom where magical people who are described as having darker skin are oppressed for their magical capabilities, and people who look more like me are the ruling class and the oppressors. And so I thought to myself, not only do I fit this character description, but my skin tone actually serves the story in supporting the allegory about colorism and oppression. I went through the audition process. It was a very challenging one. I flew out to LA for the screen test, and then I waited and waited some more, and I got the phone call that I had booked it, and I flipped out. And then I had the opportunity to meet Tomi, the novelist, for the first time, and we met up for dinner. First off, she's gorgeous and incredible. You would just be shook meeting her, point blank, period. But then she goes, Amanda, I want you to know that when you were a little girl and you were cast as Rue in the Hunger Games, and you had these racist remarks thrown at you because people said that Rue's death wouldn't be as sad because you're a black girl, that inspired me to write this series so that black girls like you and black girls of all shades could have a story written about them. The first time that Amari is described in the book, the way that I interpreted this when I read it was this is an incredibly colorist society that these royals exist in, and Amari's mother is lighter than her comparatively. I think I read it that way because of language that I kept reading afterwards also, like the girl's copper skin and thick robes scream of noble blood. She's also described as having oak brown skin, and in descriptions of characters with oak brown skin stands out against the darker chestnut and mahogany hues of the villagers. So I felt like I could read myself in that language, but I also felt like what was so beautiful was that this was a story about two girls who were so different from each other. And that difference had isolated them from each other and given them preconceived notions about each other, but they had to overcome that difference in order to love each other. And for the past several months, that's what I've found in all of the fan art that I've researched.
Right. Okay. So as you can see, that was Amandla Steinberg's reaction to all of the controversy for everyone saying they had an issue with her being cast because of her lighter skin. As you can see, she mentioned the story where Tomi gave the author of Children of Blood and Bone gave her her blessing. Okay. So now fast forward to present day. Everyone's starting to notice like the promotional campaign is going, the trailer has been released, interviews are happening. I mean, content is being created surrounding the movie. Like the buzz is now starting. This is how it starts in Hollywood to build up that momentum, right? But everyone is noticing because it's so blaringly obvious. The author, who was very much hands on in the beginning, Tomi Adeyemi, the creator of this entire world, the writer of the actual novel, Children of Blood and Bone, is noticeably missing from all of the promo for the movie adaptation for Children of Blood and Bone. Everybody's asking all these questions like, what's going on? Like, she was so, she was so front and center in the beginning. So it's like, what happened? Where is she? We're noticing that she is not sharing the trailer. She is not sharing like the promotional photos surrounding the film. And again, all of this is odd because leading up to all of this, she was the main person doing a lot of the advertisement. A lot of the talking heads, a lot of the content was coming from Tomi herself. And we had no idea what was going on until Tomi addressed the situation herself in a very emotional social media video and several posts. Tomi Adeyemi explains that she has chosen to distance herself completely from the movie adaptation of her best-selling novel. She said that she has not watched the final finished version of the film. She says she doesn't plan to. She does not want to be associated with the movie. She openly, very blatantly says, hey, don't ask me questions about it. I'm not in it. Leave me out of it. Tomi also describes that the production of this film is one of the most painful experiences of her career. Tomi Adeyemi shared that she left the set hyperventilating and crying, and that the experiences caused panic attacks and lasting emotional distress. Let's get into the video so y'all can really understand the energy that she really put out there and why it was so concerning for all of us as fans, because it's like, what exactly happened here?
I'm gonna post this so ideally I won't have to talk about this anymore. And what I'm about to share is not a secret to the people involved. It's a reality that I've had to live with for about a year and a half. And everyone involved, at least at the highest level,
has been made aware of this reality, and they haven't done anything to make it better. If anything, they've only antagonized me, and I accept that. But I also accept if I don't say something, I think it's just going to be worse.
So as you can see, she's taking a lot of pauses. Like whatever it is that happened, you can just feel the heaviness of everything that she's talking about. Like she has to take several moments to like pause and gather herself while discussing this. This is Tomi Adeyemi, the author of the best-selling novel Children of Blood and Bone, talking about her experience on set and with the production team for the movie adaptation of Children of Blood and Bone.
I'm not going to speak on what I endured to make it through the young adult trilogy. And I'm not going to speak about everything that I also suffered through or endured to make the adaptation a reality. I'm actually only going to speak about what happened after I left that set of my own film adaptation, hyperventilating and sobbing. And there are many witnesses.
Hyperventilating and sobbing, y'all. Hyperventilating and sobbing. What? What happened? Like, what took it there? How did we get there? And like, words mean things. She didn't just say, like, I was upset, I was emotional. Hyperventilating and sobbing?
So it's not really a secret. I came back to America and suffered such severe somatic pain and so many panic attacks. And I knew it was so bad that I would never, ever be able to watch this film. And I made peace with that. But as it is being marketed, and as I'm still being antagonized behind the scenes, which is where I hoped all of this would stay, it's become apparent to me that that reality needs to at least be made known so that you guys can understand how this film, which I worked on to make it a little better for us to be alive, is also the worst thing I have ever had to live through. And I don't wish to speak on it anymore. I don't know if that's possible. I understand that I have a public presence and that this is a global project. It's probably useless posting a video. I really don't know. I don't do things like this. But I also understand that being silent about it is making the pain a lot worse. And even though it feels awful to share this, it's better to share it and have it known and understood before I see a bunch of you for this new book. So please understand, I never want to hear about this project again. I don't have anything to say about the people who made it.
So yeah, she says, I don't want to hear about this project again. I don't want to hear anything about the people that made it. We're talking about the world in the book that she wrote. This would not exist without the novel that she created. So again, what happened here? Like, these are strong words for real. Let's listen to her finish.
I do not care anymore. I'm trying to move on. This video might make it worse, but I don't know how it can be any worse. So I'm just going to share that and let it live. Okay.
So yes, so that was the full video posted by writer and the creator of Children of Blood and Bone, the best-selling novel. That was Tomi Adeyemi, talking about just the stress and everything that she went through on the set of this film from her book. It's so, as like I said, very strong words, very vivid descriptions of the stress and the anxiety and everything that she went through. But at the same time, we still don't know what exactly happened. um, while Tomi was vulnerable and shared a lot of the like mental health things and everything that she went through, she still has not publicly explained the like details of what exactly happened behind the scenes. And that's important because when you leave things with that much ambiguity, when you leave things with that much just kind of openness, that's how rumors get started. Okay? And at this point, there are countless rumors online. And unless Tomi or the filmmakers confirm or someone kind of gives us more insight, this speculation will just remain. Things became even more surprising when Tomi later shared screenshots indicating that she told Amandla, do not contact me again and do not publicly reference my name. Like, Tomi was like, nah, standing on big business. Tomi said, I'm 10 toes down. If, like I said, I ain't in it. I don't want nothing to do with it. Leave me out of it. And for her to post the screenshots between her and one of the main actresses of the film, like, y'all, it's getting messy. It's getting very messy. Because it completely contradicted what Amandla's earlier story, like, kind of alluded to. Amandla stated that her and Tomi Adeyemi had this great conversation and this great bond, and as if Tomi gave her her blessing to be a part of the film. She even shared like this whole story about how Tomi was inspired by her, and she received that as Tomi's blessing before even thinking about accepting the role. But to this day, y'all, neither of them have publicly explained exactly what caused the relationship to have such a major breakdown. And without those details, it's really impossible to know everything that happened privately because we're not on the set. But somebody on the set needs to speak up because what is going on? Because what we do know is clearly the relationship changed. Now, of course, entertainment journalists have generally viewed this as two separate conversations. The first, of course, is about colorism and how casting and black actors and actresses still have to fight that silent battle of sometimes it's not even your skill set. Sometimes your skin tone can be the very thing that keeps you from a position. But then the second conversation is about creative control. Many people assume that the author of a book should have full final say over the movie adaptation of the movie that is based on their book. It's their words. It's the life that they created, the world they created. In reality though, that's very rarely the case. Because when we're talking about a movie versus a book, as a book, you typically have the author, the editor, the publishing house. You may, depending on the publishing company you're working with, you may or may not have them come in and request certain things be amended or updated. But for the most part, as the writer, you remain a certain level of control over your own story because you are the writer. Really, you and your editor are the main two that kind of have the capability to kind of shift like very integral details of a story when it comes to a book. But now let's look at a movie. Movies have the studio that is producing the movie, the producers, the production company that is funding and behind everything. You then have the director who is in charge of, specific shots, the story, all the things. You have the script writers. You have the executives that are behind and funding all of this who have the final say. All of these people, even down to wardrobe and makeup, and all of these people do have influence on the creative decisions when it comes to a movie. Now, I'm not saying that authors don't have any involvement, but when it comes to a movie, there are way more hands in the cookie jar, honey. It is way more people staring the spoon in the tea when it comes to an actual movie adaptation. So many have questioned if that's the issue that Tomi Adeyemi ran into when it came to the creation of the movie adaptation for Children of Blood and Bone. Was this an issue of creative control? Did she feel maybe that even down to casting, they sort of took away the authority that she had over the story and the world that she created? Honestly, we will never know. But specifically when it comes to the colorism debate, this conversation is not happening in a vacuum. These aren't individual things that are happening rarely. Hollywood has faced similar criticisms before. Speaking of our girl Amanda Steinberg, she ran into a very similar controversy when it came to the project that she was in, titled The Hate You Give. She was cast as the main character, which sparked discussions about complexion and casting. Because The Hate You Give, also a novel turned movie adaptation, where in the book, the main character, Star Carter, is referred to and refers to her own skin tone as medium brown in the book. For many, that might be me or a little lighter. I think it depends on where you're at regionally of how you label skin tones. Ain't it? Like you get what I'm saying? Like, so the casting of Steinberg though, who is it's very apparent she's a lighter skinned biracial woman. She's the child of a black mother with a Danish father. The casting of Amandla prompted criticism for those OG book fans for The Hate You Give, because they felt like the movie whitewashed the intent of what the book actually is about. I feel like each situation is different. Some people have really said that this needs to be two separate conversations because they both hold such like grave energy when it comes to our entertainment and the Black community. That intersection of it all really does hold a lot of weight. But we also do have to really address how much weight should Hollywood truly hold in the world of adaptations, especially when it comes to books. How much creative control should be granted? How many key components of something should be allowed to be twisted or turned or amended for the story? I don't know. What's fascinating about all of this, though, is that the marketing campaign itself slowly has become overshadowed by all of this controversy. Let's really be honest. Normally, we would be breaking down the trailer. We'd be talking about the costumes, the elaborate facial makeup, and all of the beautiful like tribal artistry that we see. Baby, we will be talking about those platinum 613 bust down, platinum white blonde hair that we're seeing in this. Like, y'all, we're not even getting into all of the performances and visual effects because we are talking mainly about Tomi Adeyemi in that video, and we're talking about Amanda Steinberg and colorism, and all of these things are really starting to low-key overshadow what the whole premise of Children of Blood and Bone is really all about. We're no longer talking about the fantasy world. We're talking about the very real things happening in the real world. And whether that's fair or not, perception can sometimes shape the expectations long before audiences step into a theater. And that really can be a problem. We've witnessed something very similar to this before, where a movie trailer was put out and it was critically acclaimed and everyone was looking forward to it. But the downside started to literally spiral downward when the bad press of like during the press run with the actors and the actresses started to surround the film and drown out the excitement for the actual movie because everybody was talking about what was mentioned in interviews. The main example that I can think of for this is none other than The Color Purple, the musical adaptation that was released in 2023 with Taraji P. Henson, Fantasia. Y'all remember this, right? So during that press tour for The Color Purple, starting in like late 2023, 2024, before the movie came out, Taraji P. Henson, who was cast as main character Shug Avery, honey, we all love Shug. So we were very excited to see Taraji, a beloved actress. Taraji is beloved. There is no other way to put it. I know a lot of people sometimes come for her for the character choices that she makes, but her even getting a role like Shug Avery spoke to her range. So this was the excitement not only was about the fact that one, we love Color Purple, baby. Classic hands down. But also her playing such a vital role in this version. This and the whole premise of Color Purple is the love story and sisterhood of Celie and Nettie, and then Celie and Shug, and how just the power of true love helps you overcome all the things, right? So knowing that Taraji was going to be such a like critical person in terms of star character, you're a lead actress, we were all excited to hear, what it was like on set of The Color Purple and the chemistry that Fantasia and Taraji had. We look at them like our aunties, we look at them like our cousins. So everybody's excited to see like, oh man, like what are they, what is the press tour going to be? We're thinking we're going to hear all these positive things about the movie and production and, what it felt like to be a part of such a classic film, right? It was actually the complete opposite. And that entire press tour run for The Color Purple, the music adaptation that was released in 2023, Taraji P. Henson used that as her way to literally light up everybody in the vicinity. She aired it out. Taraji, in every interview that she had, made major headlines for using the global promotional run for The Color Purple as her stage, as her mega microphone to address Hollywood's pay equity gap for Black women, her difficult auditioning process, and all of the logistical issues that they had on set, where things where people like the main characters like Taraji and Fantasia and a few others, they were fighting for transportation to and from set. Really think about that, y'all. Taraji P. Henson was #1 on the call sheet, and she was still expected to drive herself to work, to the film set, which is insane. Y'all, those are not issues that white actors have to deal with. Simply put, they just don't. And furthermore, you absolutely don't have that kind of expectation for your star actress. Just doesn't happen that way. So with that, of course, Taraji sparked a much needed conversation. The pay gap between what Black actors and actresses versus their white counterparts are making is insane. Because it isn't an issue of talent. It isn't an issue of experience or training. Our best of the best still are not paid the same, even a competitive or comparable wage as their white counterparts. So no one is faulting Taraji for using that, for sharing her true experience. Especially someone like Taraji who has, 20 plus years in this industry now. There is no way she should be having to worry at all about her transportation to a major movie set like The Color Purple. Let's really be so for real right now. Let's really be so for real. The budget for that movie was insanity. Y'all mean to tell me y'all couldn't factor in a Black truck to transport her to and from? So no one is at all saying that Taraji was wrong in airing her grievances. But we do have to be honest about the impact that Taraji had on The Color Purple and using the press tour as her way to kind of air out her grievances. Because let's be honest, the media coverage and fans' conversations heavily pivoted away from the movie Color Purple at that point. No one was talking about the acting performances or focused on, the excitement of this new adaptation of such a classic film. What everyone wanted to talk about was pay equity and the negative headlines surrounding Hollywood's labor practices. And to be honest, a lot of people were like, well, I'm not going to see it because they're not even paying these actors and actresses what they deserve. One can argue that so many of the negative headlines ultimately did hurt the box office momentum. All in all, the 2023 version of The Color Purple grossed roughly $68 million worldwide. That was against an estimated revenue and budget between $90 to $100 million. So while The Color Purple did score a historic record-breaking Christmas Day opening in the US, which, hey, at the end of the day, a Christmas movie, a classic movie being released on Christmas like Color Purple, it was always going to do okay. Let's just be honest. But immediately after Christmas, the box office momentum dropped deeply, y'all. It was a sharp decline. Very much soon after. Some may say that it could have been because it was a remix of a classic film and they made it a musical as opposed to what everyone considered the original Whoopi Goldberg. There was a lot more singing because it was the musical adaptation. I get it. Some people are just not into that. Me personally, give me a good tune anytime, okay? I went to performing arts high school, honey. She was a dancer in college. She does not mind the arts. So for me personally, I don't have an issue with musicals or musicals being adapted into films. Hey, turn on Grease, turn on Little Shop of Horrors, the movie versions. Baby, I'm here for them. But for a lot of people, they were not excited about the fact that The Color Purple was being what they considered turned into a musical. It already was a musical on Broadway. They took the Broadway play, made it a movie. Either way, some people weren't feeling that. So some people felt like that's why the numbers weren't that good. However, some highly speculate that they did not go and see it or support the film in theaters because of Taraji's press tour and the negative things she said while on the press tour for Color Purple. I said all of that to say this. Could the negative press affect the release of Children of Blood and Bone the same way? The film is not set to be released until January of 2027. However, we're already hearing all of these negative things thus far with the casting. And then for Tomi Adeyemi to make a video saying she was hyperventilating and sobbing, she's speaking about traumas and all of these like mental health things that occurred while she was on set for this. Where does this leave us, y'all? Where does this leave us? I know I said a lot, so I definitely want to just give a bit more insight and share some content that I did see that I thought did a really good job of really doing a further deep dive into all things that led to all of this before we get into the conclusion. Make sure y'all are dropping down in the comments if you are planning to go and see Children of Blood and Bone. Drop a cup, a shot glass, a sippy, a mug, something. Drop something that you would sip into the comments. If this is a skip for you just because of the subject matter, if it's a skip because of the controversy, you know what to do. Throw them X's. But I would definitely wanted to watch this as well.
After I left set of my own film adaptation, hyperventilating and sobbing, and there are many witnesses, I came back to America and suffered such severe somatic pain and so many panic attacks. And I knew it was so bad that I would never, ever be able to watch this film. So please understand, I never want to hear about this project again.
You may be wondering, who is this and how did we get here? Let me rewind and start at the beginning so you can understand all the drama and Hollywood tea that I'm about to spill. This is Tomi Adeyemi. She's the author of the critically acclaimed book, Children of Blood and Bones. She's also the executive producer and screenwriter of the upcoming movie adaptation of her book, Children of Blood and Bone. In 2017, Tomi Adeyemi secured a 7-figure book deal, making it one of the largest debut young adult publishing deals in history. Within that 7-figure deal was also
Okay, all right, I'm back.
with it, they fired all the executives, and that is when trouble for Miss Tomi Adeyemi began. Later in the year of 2019, the second installment of the Arisha trilogy is released, Children of Virtue. Now we
Out. All right. Let's try this again.
Hyperventilating and sobbing, and there are many witnesses. I came back to America and suffered such severe somatic pain and so many panic attacks. And I knew it was so bad that I would never, ever be able to watch. Please understand, I never want to hear about this project again.
You may be wondering, who is this and how did we get here? Let me rewind and start at the beginning so you can understand all the drama and Hollywood tea that I'm about to spill. This is Tomi Adeyemi. She's the author of the critically acclaimed book, Children of Blood and Bones. She's also the executive producer and screenwriter of the upcoming movie adaptation of her book, Children of Blood and Bone. In 2017, Tomi Adeyemi secured a seven-figure. Within that seven-figure deal was also a movie adaptation deal, which was secured by Fox 2000 Studios. Fox 2000 used to be under 20th Century Studios. That's very important to this plot. March of 2018, the first book of the original trilogies is released, Children of Blood and Bone. Now we're in 2019. Walt Disney Studios acquires 20th Century Fox Studios. With it, they fired all the executives, and that is when trouble for Miss Tomi Adeyemi began. Later in the year of 2019, the second installment of the original trilogy is released, Children of Virtue. Now we enter 2020. COVID hits. What's happening? Everything is brought to a halt. Late 2020, Disney has its Investor Day presentation where it announces on stage it will be releasing Children of Blood and Bones under Lucasfilms. That's the studio that makes all the Star Wars franchise. So at this point, Disney's completed their Investor Day presentation. It's been 3 years and two book releases later, and still no movement on production or pre-production of Children of Blood and Bones. That pisses Tomi off. Understandably, she pushes Lucasfilms to begin production. She also requests to be the screenwriter for the movie. Lucasfilm says no, and that pisses her off even more. Understandably so. So Lucasfilm and Tomi Adeyemi, they go back and forth for a year. That brings us to late 2021 when the rights officially lapses. Lucasfilms no longer has rights to the film. Tomi and her teams take that film shopping. They shop it around Universal, Amazon, Netflix, Paramount Pictures, you name it, they shopped it. It resulted in one of the greatest bidding wars in movie adaptation history. Fast forward to January 2022, Paramount Pictures secured the rights to the entire original trilogy. This deal earned Tomi a seven-figure screenwriting guarantee, creative approvals, an executive producer title, and a guaranteed theatrical release in Lagos, Nigeria. After the announcement of this deal, pre-production officially begins. December 2023, Gina Prince Brithwood is officially announced as a director. She was also the director of The Woman King, The Old Guard, and Love and Basketball. Adeyemi is singing the praises of Gina, stating, "It feels divine. It feels bigger than just making this project. We're really in sync." In November 2024, casting for the production officially began. The director Gina Prince took to her Instagram to pass an open casting call. Tomi Adeyemi also did the same. She captioned it this: "Because this book is based on Nigerian spirituality and mythology, we are especially looking for Nigerians to submit, but I won't be mad if you submit anyway," referring to those outside of the Nigerian culture and world. The casting call was everywhere. It was in Nigeria. They wanted Nigerian actors. They wanted to keep it authentic to the book. That's important to the upcoming drama that I'll explain in part 2.
Right. So, okay. As you can see, she went a little bit deeper into just like all of the drama. They wanted Nigerian actors. They wanted all these things to be very, very, very specific. Again, this is all speculation, but is that part of what led to Tomi's breakdown? We don't know. But let's get into part 2.
Left that set of my own film adaptation, hyperventilating and sobbing.
Welcome to part 2. Now brings us to January 2025. The cast list has officially been announced. Thuso Mbedu, a South African actress, is announced as the movie's lead. Zeli Adebola, which of course led to controversy. A South African actress playing the lead is meant to be of Nigerian descent. The controversy in
And I just want to say real quick, she's pronouncing these names way better than I am, baby. Charge it to my head and not my heart. It is all love. It is all respect. No diaspora wars over here ever. We are all one. But that's another reason why I wanted to share this amazing creator's content, because she definitely gave a bit more in-depth just depiction of it all, and she's sharing more from the African side of things. Whereas me as a Black American, I'm sharing what I found via research. She's a journalist. Hey, Portia. But yes, so definitely wanted to just shout her out. She's an amazing creator. Check her out on TikTok. But yeah, and shouts to her for the pronunciations, girl, because your cousin definitely needed some help with that. Thank you.
Casting doesn't stop there. It gets announced that Amanda Steinberg will be playing the role of Princess Amiri, a character who in the book is described as having dark copper or dark brown copper skin. This character in the book faces colorism because she is darker than her lighter royal family members. In fact, one of the many character developments for this character is the fact that her mother even encourages her to skin bleach so that she can be as fair as they are. So naturally, readers are expecting a darker complexion actress. Now, here's where there's a discrepancy. Princess Amiri is of the royal family bloodline, meaning their skin tone is not going to be as dark as other members of society. Even in interviews before production really began, the author, Tomi Adeyemi, had publicly cited how, when she was writing this character, Princess Amiri, she envisioned someone playing it like Zendaya or Tessa Thompson. And many may be wondering, these are all lighter toned women. Copper toned skin is a warm medium brown complexion featuring distinct reddish, golden, or caramel undertone.
See what I'm saying? Like, I really feel like it is linked to just regionally too, because I've met people who, like, if you're saying copper, I'm not sure if that's what they would have described as copper, maybe in the deep south. I don't know. But I thought this was an interesting take on what qualifies and what quantifies for darker skin, lighter skin, copper tone, the undertones of it all. This is why colorism and the discussions around colorism need to have nuance. They need to have depth. They need to have the space for these kind of conversations to happen where there isn't judgment or vitriol, but really a safe space to reach some sort of understanding, because as you can see, there are so many factors.
Amanda Steinberg being casted as Princess Amiri is literally accurate, but readers were still not pleased. And it doesn't make it better when Amanda Steinberg went on her TikTok in a now deleted video to state the following: I want everyone to know that this is important to me, and I think about it with every choice that I make. I would never navigate my career blindly, not thinking about my skin tone or the space I occupy. I would never go after a role I didn't feel was right for me. I want to see all skin tones represented in media. I know that colorism is an insidious system that relentlessly impacts every facet of entertainment.
I just want to stop too, because one thing, and again, this is no shade to the actress Amanda Steinberg, but I do want to have not tonight because we've already been on here for a good little minute, but I do want to have I got a bone to pick. in the words of my grandma, I got a bone to pick with little Miss Amanda, because how does she continuously keep ending up in these sort of predicaments? She is one of the fair-skinned actresses that constantly ends up in a controversy around the roles that she takes. Now, on the one hand, it does give a little bit of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I get that. But at what point? To what end? To what end? Y'all get that reference? You're my type of people. But to what end do you keep pursuing this? And I know she stated that, with this particular situation, she was able to get the blessing from the author and all of the things, but how does this this is a repetitive pattern we're seeing in her career path. I don't know, girl.
Princess Amiri was never going to be of a dark brown complexion because she's a royal. After this controversy, Adeyemi is seen defending the casting, defending Amandla Steinberg. In fact, Amandla even stated that she actually got the blessing from Tomi to even audition for the role. When she met with Tomi, Tomi had informed her, Amandla, I want you to know that when you were a little girl and you were cast as Rue in the Hunger Games and people said that Rue's death wouldn't be as sad because you're a black girl, that inspired me to write this series so that black girls like you and black girls of all shades could have a story written about them. We started crying and I said to myself, God wants me here. February 2025, production began in South Africa, and 3 months later had wrapped. In those 3 months, Tomi Adeyemi was on set for an entire month watching everything play out.
So Tomi, the author of Children of Blood and Bone, the best-selling novel that is now being turned into a film adaptation, they were on set and filming for 3 months. She was 10 toes down. She was defending the casting choices. She was on set and supporting. And at some point, something just took a turn.
Had gone on podcasts to say how proud she was of the production, how she was so excited that she even had a cameo in the production, and how she hears the criticism. She has been fighting so hard behind the scenes.
As you can see, there's actual video of Tomi Adeyemi. Again, she's the author of Children of Blood and Bone, sitting in the makeup chair. She's getting some sort of makeup special effects done to her because she's going to make a cameo in the film. Allegedly, because now in light of recent news, in her saying that she, left the set hyperventilating and sobbing, are they still keeping her in the film for her cameo?
Something when I was like, I'm not the casting director and I'm also not the director. And when I tell you, as many times as Zaylee has been completely decimated in this book, is how many times I was completely decimated trying to complete this trilogy and get a film like we've never seen to screen.
It's clear that Tomi Adeyemi had been fighting. What? She won't say, but she definitely alludes to the fact that she's been fighting so hard behind the scenes, which should have been an early indicator of the trouble that is to come ahead. In part 3.
All right, y'all, let's get into part 3. But as you can see, it was all good at the beginning of the 3 months or so. I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened.
To America and suffered such severe somatic pain.
Welcome to part 3, aka where hits the fan. So at this point, in later 2025, it's clear that Tomi Adeyemi had been fighting. What? She won't say, but she definitely alludes to the fact that she's been fighting so hard behind the scenes. Now that brings us to July 4th, 2026. Tomi Adeyemi publicly comes out and states that she is now separating herself from the movie. In a very cryptic TikTok video, she states, "There is a reason I will not post anything about the adaptation of my work. That's all." The TikTok video that has now been deleted also included a screenshot of a text message thread between her and Amandla all the way in February of 2025. Reminder, February is when production began. February is also the same month that Amandla came out and made the statement publicly defending her playing the role of Princess Amiri. In this text message thread that she included in this now deleted TikTok, she says to Amandla, "Do not ever use my name in an interview or video again. Don't text me, do not call me." And then proceeds to block Amandla. In April 2026, Adeyemi is notably missing from the CinemaCon event in which it was a sneak peek of the Children of Blood. Now it brings us to present day. July 27th, 2026, the official trailer for Children of Blood and Bones is released. 2 days later, Tomi Adeyemi releases this video. How do we go from this?
It's so beautiful, and I think people will be very proud
To this.
And I knew it was so bad that I would never, ever be able to watch this film.
Promises were made that weren't kept. Expectations that weren't met, and a sense of blind naivety in thinking creative control would have been maintained by the author. You can have your opinion on Tomi Adeyemi, but the fact remains this. Tomi Adeyemi has had a very difficult journey bringing this project to life. It is very evident that Tomi Adeyemi did not have creative approvals. That is starkly evident in the cast. As much as Toso Mbedu might do an amazing job playing Zele Adebola, the fact remains this. She is not true to the character in terms of culture. Casting a South African actress is equivalent to casting a Mexican to play an American. Just because.
And she ate with that. She ate with that. Because that's the part about these movies that are based on traditional African mythology, but I'll even bring it over to the States. Movies that are based in certain regions. If you are making a movie in the South, you can't have British actors playing these Southern roles. They may can master the accents, but that does not mean they are mastering the cultural nuances. She ate with that. I'm sorry. I get it. Stringer Bell, In the Wire, everybody ate it up because we love Idris Elba. But at the end of the day, there are certain marks that were missed because there are cultural nuances that are relative to geography. There is DNA that flows through that soil into the people that are of that land. I'm just saying. And y'all know I have long been a advocate for hire more actors and actresses that are relevant to, especially if it's something regional, especially if it's something that is specifically for a particular part of the earth. Go there and find the talent there. Because you don't have to teach someone a Baltimore accent if you hire Baltimore actors. You don't have to teach Daniel Kaluuya to have the accent of Fred Hampton if you hired a Black American to play the role who actually understands the cultural importance of that role. I will never forget the very negative things Daniel Kaluuya stated during his press tour for that role that was so important for such a integral and significant part of Black American history, part of American history, like Fred Hampton. But I digress. Let's finish.
Might do an amazing job playing Zele Adebola. The fact remains this: she is not true to the character in terms of culture. Casting a South African actress is equivalent to casting a Mexican to play an American. Just because they are in the same continent does not mean they have the same culture. Completely different countries, completely different cultures. And this is the biggest sign to me that Tomi Adeyemi was stripped of creative approval, the casting of the royal family. Skin tone in the book dictates your social class. The darker you are, the lower you are in class. The lighter you are, the higher you are to the noble class, aka the royals. Hence why Princess Amiri, her skin tone not being as fair and light as her family members is such a big critique in the book, and also important to the development of Princess Amiri. However, in the movie, the noble class is darker the berry, sweeter the juice. We have Damson Idris playing Prince Inam. We have Regina King playing the Queen. And then we have Chiwetel playing King Saran. Imagine if casting had actually stayed true to the integrity of the book. King Saran was being played by Terrence Howard or Michael Ealy. The Queen was being played by Vanessa Williams or Don Dwayne Newton if Prince Inan was being played by Rome Flynn or Aaron Pierre. Yawa Shahidi would be the one playing Princess Amiri. Then you would really have a discussion on colorism on our screen, because she, by definition, to the book, would have been the darkest family member. It would have looked as a shame that her skin tone was not fair as the rest of the noble class. The complete erasure of the integrity of the skin tones of the noble family in the book also completely erases the discussion and the critique of colorism that Tomi Adeyemi attempted to do in the book Children of Blood and Bone. Which author will be fine with that completely being erased from the character development? A fan asked her, "I'm confused, Tomi. Didn't you co-write the script and produce it? And you were so excited and happy when you visited the set in Cape Town. And on Zithu's podcast, you said it's great and we'll love it because we're all in there. So where's this coming from?" Tomi Adeyemi responds, "What I did was work for 14 years to make this a reality. All final decisions are the directors, and they always have been. If you were told they were mine, you were lied to on purpose."
Okay, you were lied to on purpose. So y'all, in conclusion, where does this leave us when it comes to Children of Blood and Bone? Right now, we do not have every answer. We don't know what caused the divide between the author, Tomi Adeyemi, and the production team and the directors and the cast members. We don't know what happened to lead Tomi Adeyemi and Amanda Steinberg to have this very public falling out. We don't know any of it. We don't know if creative control was stripped away from Tomi or something else happened on set. We have more questions than we have answers at this point, ain't it? Like, let's just be real. But what we do have are very passionate public statements coming directly from Tomi, speaking to a very traumatic emotional experience. And we also have a passionate fan community that deeply cares about this story and wants to see it succeed. No matter where you fall in this debate, one thing is undeniable. Children of Blood and Bone has become way bigger than just a movie. It's become part of an ongoing conversation about representation, colorism, creative ownership, and who gets to shape the stories when it matters to millions of people. Now, I want to hear from y'all. Let's keep this conversation going. Do you think the criticism surrounding the Children of Blood and Bone movie adaptation, for one, do you feel it is justified? And two, do you feel like it will affect the box office come January 2027 when it is released? Should audiences separate the film from the behind the scenes controversy that we really don't know what happened? We don't. So should we separate that from the film, or should we take that into account when it comes to supporting the film? And drop down in the comments and let me know, how do y'all think, or what do you feel about the decision of the author, Tomi Adeyemi, to distance herself from the film and put out such strong words of the traumatic experience that she experienced, that she, said that she experienced on set? How do you feel all of that will ultimately affect the movie's success and how this entire franchise is viewed? Because let's be honest, for the most part, when everyone saw the imagery, immediately everyone thought Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It took us back there. It took us back to Wakanda Forever. So immediately, when you think Wakanda Forever, you think franchise. You think multiple movies. You think spinoffs and cartoon toys. Not cartoon toys. Cartoon adaptations. And then from cartoons, you get toys for the kids. And you get live action experiences. And just all of the different things that we were able to branch from the creative juices that we had with Black Panther and the Wakanda universe. A lot of people really wanted to sort of manifest that same sort of energy for Children of Blood and Bone, because that is the story encapsulates magic and so many things that would thrive in those different avenues as well. Children of Blood and Bone as an animated series would be fire. Okay? Action figures, fire. All of it. 5 sips, baby. It's very strong tea. 10 out of 10 would highly recommend. Like, I think it would be a great avenue to pursue. But do you think that this controversy will sort of stand in the way of all that this movie has the potential to be? Let me know, y'all. We got to keep this conversation going. Drop down in the comments. Let me know. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, if y'all like going live with it as opposed to like just watching it later, I kind of am feeling the live. I don't know. We had a little bit of, technical difficulties, but baby, y'all was rolling with me and I appreciate you for that. Love y'all. I reckon I'm going to have to come and see y'all again around here on the live. Thank you. But if you enjoyed this deep dive, do not forget to like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our page at The Media Sip and turn on the notifications so when I reckon I do go live again, y'all can come on around and make sure that you hear. Because what I would also love is to get some more comments flowing. Let's talk, like, talk to me. Talk to me nice. So as I am going through everything, we can really keep the conversation interactive, okay? Yeah. Turn on those notifications. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you like the video. Engage with me, y'all. Let's keep the conversation going. And please continue to support the Media Sip. Again, this is all powered by the Media Sip. We are your favorite place to be for all of your media tea. We deep dive into all things and sip real slow on TV, film, movies, entertainment, and events. So we'll let you know what movies to watch and what moves to make, okay? So make sure that you are following us so you can stay in the loop. There are so many amazing things coming up. Major one being we will be live at Afro Plus Festival. We are doing our first music festival, live brand activation, live pop-up shop. Hopefully I can stream, not hopefully because we're going to claim it. I will be streaming live from there as well, so y'all can come along for the journey. They got Tim's, they got Lotto, they got Lil Baby, they got Davido, they got WizKid. Did I say Tim's? Because that's what I'm there for. Okay. But yes, y'all, make sure that you are locked in because there's so many amazing things coming down the pipe. And I want to make sure I bring all of my sippers along with me. If you've rocked with me this long, welcome. You are now an official sipper. That is everybody that's in the Media Sip. Just you in the tribe now, baby. So congratulations. You are a sipper. Much love to all the sippers that have forever been rocking with me, and much love to the new sippers who are coming along for the journey. Make sure that you're following us on Instagram as well at the Media Sip, and then you can follow me, your favorite cousin, at Hey Media Money. Make sure you check it out. And for all of my mommies out there who want to get into stuff for these churn, you can check out the Mommy Sip. So I got the Media Sip where I talk all things media. Then I also got the Mommy Sip where I'm talking all things discounts, school supplies, movies and films for the kids, restaurants that are kid friendly, deals where you can get things for free for these churn. Okay, it's all about the churn. So if you want to check out all things mommy, mom life, family life, we are a sports family, so you can also get into that. Check out the Mommy Sip. All things media, entertainment, movies, events, check out the Media Sip. And if you just want to get into more of what I do, make sure that you check me out on Instagram as well as TikTok at Hey Media Money. Can't wait to share more moments with y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay hydrated. Let's watch, sip, and spill. Catch you next time.